goddamn thing. Hello, everyone. Long time no see. I honestly don't remember the last time I made a little video, but I'm sure it was sometime last week. Anyways, let's get right into things. So, I recently came across an old photo of myself from like 14, 6 years ago, some whatever years ago, a little while back. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh my word, I've changed. And it's not so much that my physical appearance has changed because I look back at photos of myself and I always have just sympathy. Because when I was younger, I always like hated myself. I never liked how I looked. And so when I look at photos of myself now and during the phase of my life, I'm like, there was never anything wrong with me. I was never ugly. I had such a negative perception of myself and I believed it to the core. But anyways, even though I look back on those photos and I know I'm not ugly, I definitely am like, boy, did I glow up. Now, all of this is really thanks to me learning how to love myself. Um, and I'm going to talk about a couple of things. So you can look at me now and you can be like, no, Anna, there's some physical things you've changed. And sure, like subtle things. I know how to do my eyebrows now. I don't even know how to wear my hair, and I don't style my hair either. Like, I don't know how to do any of that. But sure, you can say, Anna, you've made some. Wow, look how good my hands look. You can say, Anna, you've made some physical change appearances. Sure. But that's not what made me even glow up in the first place. You see, somebody can be physically attractive or look the part, they can fit into all of these standards of society. But if they're selfish, if they're greedy, you're not gonna find that person attractive unless you're greedy and selfish yourself. Um, those traits are so like such a turn off. Have you ever seen somebody like treat somebody poorly and then you're like, oh, like somebody you might have had a crush on and then you see them treat somebody else poorly and you're like, oh, like that didn't sit well with me. I'm not, I don't like that person anymore, really. Because when people behave a certain way, or am I getting a pimple? Am I getting a pimple right there? I'm gonna be angry if I am. No. No. I am, but we're not gonna talk about it. Um, if somebody's not like internally kind or generous or loving, it's gonna be very obvious and very evident because there's also like a lot of people who I look at and I'm like, you should be pretty because you have the potential to be gorgeous, but something just about you is not sitting with me well, and they have a terribly ugly personality. They're terribly ugly on the inside. It's not even personality, they're just ugly on the inside. They're jealous, they're hateful, they're envious. Those are all like ugly, ugly, ugly traits, and they contribute to your physical appearance whether you like it or not. And similarly, when you have such a negative perception of yourself, you 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 present yourself to the world the way you see yourself, right? So if you think you're ugly and you believe it, well, that's what the world is going to see too. But similarly, on the backside of that coin, if you think you're the sexiest, most gorgeous person on earth, well, guess what people are going to see when you walk down the street? They're going to see the sexiest, most gorgeous person on earth. And now, when people talk about glow ups, it's so much more important to focus on internal stuff rather than external. The external will change on its own, but internally, I'm talking about learning to love who you are, learning to embrace who you are. I used to want to change every single thing about my face, but now I've learned to like embrace everything that I used to hate, and it takes a lot of work too. It takes many years of rewiring your brain to think otherwise, but self love is one of the most impactful ways to change your physical appearance. When you view yourself in the light of confidence, you start walking with confidence, you start interacting with people in a confident way, and it's really powerful stuff. So I definitely encourage whoever's watching this, if you want to glow up, if you want to become hot or cute or whatever, just know it's all done internally. Like, it's all done internally. You know, when somebody's kind to somebody else or helps somebody else, or, you know, if you're in a group of people and somebody's left out on the end and that person includes them, like, that's hot, that's attractive. If you see somebody who's maybe struggling on the side of the road and you give them something to help them, like, that's attractive. That's attractive stuff. Like, and there's like, it's so like evident too. You can look and find proof everywhere. There's a lot of guys who you might see with girls and you might be like, the math is not there. How did he pull that? Because I do find that oftentimes, like, girls are like stunning and then men are just like, I'm not even trying to hate on men either. It's just I think the bar is so low for them. And like that's totally like society. Like, yeah, we did that, you know? But the bar for their physical appearance is like buried underneath the ground, so they don't really have to try. And it's clear. But like yeah, you see some guys who are like, I don't know, like, whoa, how did you get that girl? But if they're kind, if they've got a heart of gold, like it does not matter what you look like. Um, if you lead with love and you lead with kindness, like you're already a 10. Like, you know, or if you can, what's that expression? It's like if you can make a girl laugh, you can date her and you can kiss her. And unfortunately, I think that's true. I think that's true. But yeah, everything that's on the inside is like way 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 more important because everybody ages, everybody gets old. So, fall in love with what's on the inside. But you must fall in love with your own inside before you fall in love with somebody else's inside. And that's a big mistake most people make. Most people try to find, or they find that validation, they find that love in somebody else, in something outside of themselves. And then they wonder when that person's not near them for like a couple weeks. They wonder why they're sad and depressed. It's because you're dependent on somebody else for your own happiness, for your own love. Duh, stupid. Don't make that mistake. I know so many people who literally, like, they literally cannot be happy or feel loved unless that person is, like, right there. Find love within yourself before you find it in somebody else. Anna signing off. But self love can really do wonders, it can really change your life. But it starts with you learning how to love yourself, and nobody ever teaches you how. So, if you want to get taught how, just, ask me. I'll give you like my top 10 most useful tips, and we can go from there. Okay, Anna, signing off. Have a great, great, great Friday.